The wind cut through Emily Carter's thin sweater like it had teeth. She stood on the sidewalk under the bank's bright glass sign, clutching an old leather wallet with fingers that wouldn't stop shaking. Her suitcase was 3 steps behind her, tipped over like a body that had given up. Rain misted the street. Cars hissed past. Somewhere in the distance, a siren wailed and then faded, like the city didn't have time to care. Inside the bank, everything looked warm and calm. Soft lights, clean floors, smiling people holding coffee cups. A place built for people who still had a home to return to. Emily pushed the door open and walked in. The air smelled like polished wood and money. Her shoes squeaked on the tile. She felt every eye on her because she didn't belong here. Not with her damp hair. Not with the red marks on her wrist where her husband's hand had squeezed too hard when he shoved the suitcase into her arms. "Out," Jason had said. His voice had been flat, like he was throwing away trash. "You made your choice." Emily swallowed and walked up to the counter. A young teller smiled, the kind of smile that didn't touch her eyes. "Hi, welcome. How can I help you today?" Emily opened the wallet. The old card was tucked behind faded photos. The edges were worn. The name on the front was almost rubbed away. Robert Hale. Her father's name. Her father's old card. Emily slid it across the counter. I need to withdraw some cash," she said. Her voice came out smaller than she wanted. "Just enough for a hotel." The teller glanced at the card. And her face changed. The smile vanished. Her eyes widened just a little. The color drained out of her cheeks so fast it was like someone pulled a plug. "I'm sorry," the teller whispered. Then her hand shot under the counter, pressing something Emily couldn't see. The silent button. Emily's stomach dropped. "What?" Emily said, leaning forward. "Is there a problem? Can show my ID." The teller's voice shook. "Ma'am, please just one moment. Please." People behind Emily shifted. Someone cleared their throat. Emily felt heat crawl up her neck. She pulled her driver's license out and set it down like an offering. The teller stared at the card again, then at Emily, then back at the card like she was looking at a ghost. And then, from a door behind the counters, a man in a dark suit hurried out. Not walked, hurried. He didn't look at the line. He didn't look at the other customers. He looked straight at Emily. 2 security guards appeared near the entrance, hands near their belts. Not touching weapons. Not yet. But ready. The man in the suit stepped closer, his face tight and pale. "Ma'am," he said softly, careful, like he was talking to someone holding a bomb. "Where did you get that card?" Emily's throat went dry. "It was my father's." The man's jaw clenched. He glanced over his shoulder and snapped, "Close the doors." Emily blinked. "What?" The security guards moved. The glass doors clicked. A murmur rolled through the bank like a wave. Confused voices. Someone said, "Are we being robbed?" Emily's heart hammered so hard she could feel it in her ears. "I'm not robbing anyone," she said, her voice rising. "I just need money. My husband." The man held up a hand. "Ma'am, please, come with me." Emily backed up a step. "No, I'm not going anywhere. I didn't do anything wrong." The man leaned in and lowered his voice even more. "That card," he whispered, "should not exist." Emily felt the ground tilt. Her mind flashed back to her father's hands. Strong, rough, always smelling faintly of motor oil and coffee. A man who fixed things. A man who didn't talk much. A man who always told her the same thing when life got hard. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Now her father was gone. Jason was standing in their doorway 2 hours ago. Cold eyes, cold voice, throwing her out like she was nothing. And now, in this bank, strangers were locking doors because of a card with her father's name. Emily's breath came in short bursts. "What is going on?" she demanded. The man's eyes flicked to her suitcase, then to her face, and something in him shifted. Not fear exactly. Respect. Or maybe panic hidden behind respect. "Ma'am," he said, My name is Thomas Whitman. I'm the branch manager. Emily stared at him. Okay. Mr. Whitman swallowed. If you truly are Robert Hale's daughter, then you need to come with me right now. Emily wanted to run, but she also wanted answers. 'Cause something was wrong. Something had always been wrong. And she had only started to see it the moment Jason slammed the door behind her. Emily followed Mr. Whitman down a hallway that smelled like paper and clean carpet. Her suitcase wheels rattled behind her. A guard walked a few steps back, not close enough to grab her, but close enough that she could feel him. They entered an office with a heavy wooden desk, a framed photo of a golf course, and a small American flag on the corner like a decoration you bought to look important. Mr. Whitman shut the door. Then, without sitting, he pulled out his phone and dialed a number with shaking fingers. Yes, he said the moment someone answered. It's here. The Hale card. It's being used. Emily's heart jumped. Who are you calling? Mr. Whitman held up a finger, still on the phone. Yes, have her. Woman. She says she's his daughter. Emily Carter. His eyes widened as he listened. Yes, I understand. He hung up. And then very slowly, he sat down like his knees had suddenly become too weak. Emily stood across from him, clutching her purse strap like it could keep her from falling apart. Mr. Whitman looked up at her, his eyes glossy with something close to fear. You need to understand, he said carefully. Your father, Robert Hale, was not just anyone. Emily gave a short, bitter laugh. He was a mechanic. He fixed trucks. He wore the same boots for 10 years. Mr. Whitman's mouth tightened. No, ma'am. That's what you were told. Emily's laughter died in her throat. Mr. Whitman leaned forward. Robert Hale worked with this bank for a long time. Not in a public way. In a quiet way. Emily's stomach twisted. What does that mean? It means, Mr. Whitman said, choosing every word like it could explode, that your father knew things about this bank. Things that could destroy people. Powerful people. Emily stared at him. Her mind fought it. Her father had been kind, simple, quiet. The man who showed up to her school plays even when he was covered in grease. The man who packed her lunches. The man who cried only once, at her mom's funeral, and then never again. That man didn't know things about powerful people. Mr. Whitman slid a folder across the desk. Thick folder. Emily hesitated, then opened it. Inside were documents. Old ones. Yellowed edges. Letters with official stamps. Copies of bank transfers. Numbers so big they didn't make sense. And at the center of the top page was a photo. Her father. Standing in a suit. Not his oily work shirt. Not his boots. Suit. And next to him, shaking hands with someone, was a man Emily recognized instantly. 'Cause she had seen him on TV. Charles Grayson. One of the richest men in the state. A man whose face appeared in charity events, political fundraisers, ribbon cuttings. A man everyone called a pillar of the community. Emily's mouth went dry. That's not real, she whispered. It's real, Mr. Whitman said. And there's more. Emily flipped pages, hands trembling. There were notes in her father's handwriting. Clear. Detailed. Gray's zero-end shell companies. Offshore movements. Bribes to officials. Employee silenced. Payoff. Video evidence stored. Emily felt her chest tighten. Stored where? Mr. Whitman's eyes flicked to the card again. That card is tied to a private vault account. Not just money. Materials. Emily's lips parted. My father had a vault. Mr. Whitman swallowed. Your father created what we call a dead man's trigger. Emily blinked, confused. He explained in a low voice. If he ever disappeared or was killed, certain information would be released. Automatically. To law enforcement. To the media. Emily felt dizzy. Why would he do that? Mr. Whitman stared at her like the answer should be obvious. Because he was trying to protect someone. Emily's brain flashed to herself, to her mother, to her childhood. "Protect me," she whispered. Mr. Whitman didn't answer right away. He looked down. "He tried to protect you from what was coming." Emily's phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out. Jason. Her husband. The man who had just kicked her out. She stared at the screen, then answered without thinking. "What?" she snapped. Jason's voice was smooth, almost cheerful. "Oh, so you found your little backup plan." Emily's blood went cold. "How do you know where I am?" Jason chuckled. "Come on, you don't think I don't know you. You were always Daddy's girl. Always clinging to the past." Emily's hand tightened on the phone. "What do you want?" "I want you to stop," Jason said, voice sharpening. "Walk out of that bank right now. Hand over the card." Emily's heart pounded. "No." Jason's breath hissed through the line. "You don't understand what you're playing with." "Then explain," Emily said. "Explain why the bank locked the doors when I used it. Explain why my father has files on Charles Grayson. Explain why." Jason cut her off. "Emily, listen to me. If you don't do what I say, you will lose everything." Emily laughed, bitter and raw. "I already lost everything. You threw me out." Jason's voice turned colder. "You think you lost everything? I can make sure you lose more." Emily's throat tightened. "Is that a threat?" Jason paused. Then softly, like a snake sliding through grass, he said, "You want to know why your father died, Em?" Emily stopped breathing. Jason continued, "Because he didn't know when to let go." Emily's vision blurred. "What did you say?" she whispered. Jason sighed like he was bored. "Walk away. Or you'll end up like him." The call ended. Emily stared at her phone, shaking. Mr. Whitman had been watching her the whole time. "What did he say?" Mr. Whitman asked. Emily swallowed hard. He knows I'm here." Mr. Whitman's face tightened. "Then we have a bigger problem than I thought." Emily's voice cracked. "My father didn't die from a heart attack, did he?" Mr. Whitman's silence was an answer. Emily sank into the chair across from him, breath ragged. The pain hit her like waves. Not just pain from Jason. Not just the sting of being kicked out. But the sudden realization that her whole life might have been built on lies. She looked down at her father's handwriting again. Video evidence stored. Dead man's trigger. And now Jason, her husband, knew about it too. "Why would Jason know?" she whispered almost to herself. Mr. Whitman hesitated. "Ma'am, does your husband work in finance?" Emily nodded slowly. "He's a private consultant. He helps companies manage risk." Mr. Whitman's mouth tightened. "Risk," he repeated like the word tasted bitter. Emily's mind raced. "Jason didn't marry me by accident." It wasn't a question. It was a cold, sick truth forming in her chest. Emily remembered the early days. How Jason had seemed perfect. How he listened. How he said all the right things. How her friends had called him a dream. How her father had stayed quiet around him. Not rude. Not angry. Just quiet. And how, 2 weeks before the wedding, her father had pulled Emily aside and said, "Promise me something." Emily had laughed. "What?" Her father's eyes were tired. "Promise me you'll always keep your own bank account." Emily had rolled her eyes. "Dad, Jason isn't like that." Her father had nodded slowly. "Maybe. But promise me anyway." Emily had promised, annoyed. Then Jason convinced her it wasn't necessary. "We're a team," he'd said. "We share everything." And she had believed him. Until today. Emily looked up at Mr. Whitman. "What happens if I use this card again?" Mr. Whitman's eyes darted to the phone on his desk. "People get alerted. People who don't want it used." Emily's hands trembled. Like Charles Grayson. Mr. Whitman didn't deny it. Emily felt her stomach twist with rage. Jason kicked her out like she was nothing. But he didn't just want her gone. He wanted that card. He wanted whatever her father left behind. And he was willing to threaten her with her father's death to get it. Emily's voice turned steady, even though her insides were shaking. "Show me the vault." Mr. Whitman stiffened. "Ma'am." "Show me," Emily repeated, stronger. "Right now." Mr. Whitman stared at her for a long moment, as if deciding what kind of storm she was. Then he stood. "Okay," he said quietly. "But once you open it, there's no closing it again." Emily lifted her chin. "Good." They went down another hallway deeper into the bank. Past employees-only signs. Past rooms filled with safe deposit boxes that looked like metal mouths waiting to swallow secrets. At the end was a heavy door with a keypad and a scanner. "Vault door." Mr. Whitman typed in a code. A green light flashed. The door unlocked with a sound like a deep breath. Inside, the air was colder. The walls were thick concrete. The lighting was harsh. Everything felt stripped of comfort, like a place built to hold truth without emotion. Mr. Whitman led Emily to a corner where a smaller locked compartment sat behind a metal gate. He pulled out a key. His hand shook as he inserted it. "You should know," he said quietly. "I'm not doing this because I'm brave." Emily's voice was flat. "Why are you doing it?" Mr. Whitman swallowed. "Because your father saved my life." Emily froze. "What?" Mr. Whitman's eyes flicked up. "Years ago, he stopped something. He kept me from being the fall guy." The lock clicked. Mr. Whitman stepped back. Emily slid her father's card into a narrow slot. Tiny beep. Then another. A light turned from red to green. The metal gate swung open. Inside was a black case the size of a laptop bag. And a thick envelope with her name written on it. "Emily." In her father's handwriting. Emily's throat tightened so hard she could barely breathe. She reached in and pulled the envelope out first. Her fingers shook as she tore it open. Inside was a letter. One page. The handwriting was calm, like her father had been calm even while building a bomb under someone's throne. Emily read. If you're reading this, then 2 things happened. 1, I'm gone. 2, someone forced you to come looking. I'm sorry for that. I tried to keep you away from this world. I tried to give you a normal life. But some people don't let you walk away once they mark you. Listen carefully. Do not trust the bank. Do not trust the police until you have proof they're clean. And do not trust Jason. Yes, I know about him. I know why he came. I hoped I was wrong. I wasn't. The card is a key. Not to money. To truth. There is a recording in the case. Confession. If you play it, you will understand why they panicked. If you choose peace, walk away right now. If you choose justice, finish what I started. Love always. Dad. Emily's hands dropped to her sides. Her ears rang. Jason. Her father knew about Jason. Her father had warned her. And she hadn't listened. The rage came next. Hot and sharp. Jason didn't just betray her. He hunted her. He used her. He smiled at her while waiting for her father to die. Emily wiped her face with the back of her hand. What's in the case? Mr. Whitman's voice was tight. I don't know. Only you can open it. Emily set the letter down carefully like it was glass. Then she opened the case. Inside was a small recorder, a USB drive, and a second card newer with her name on it. Emily Hale. Not Carter. Her maiden name. Below it a number. 7. Mr. Whitman frowned. That's a private box number. Emily stared at it. What does it mean? Mr. Whitman's face was pale. It means your father didn't just leave evidence. He swallowed. He left you access. Emily's phone buzzed again. Jason. Emily didn't answer this time. She turned the recorder on. Crackle. Then silence. Then her father's voice. Tired. If you're hearing this, it's because you chose to know. I'm proud of you, but I'm also scared for you. Emily pressed a hand to her mouth. Her father continued. I'm recording this because I don't have much time left. They're closing in. Grayson is getting nervous. The bank is nervous. Jason. Jason is the kind of man who smiles while sharpening a knife. Emily's knees went weak. Mr. Whitman stared at the recorder like it was cursed. Her father's voice went on. Here is the truth. Charles Grayson stole millions through this bank. He bribed people. He crushed people. And when someone threatened to expose him, he didn't just pay them off. He made them disappear. Emily's breath hitched. And the bank helped, her father said. Because they were getting rich too. The same men who shake hands at charity events. They sit in rooms like this and decide who gets to keep breathing. Emily's hands shook so hard she almost dropped the recorder. Then her father's voice changed. It hardened. And Jason Carter. Your husband works for Grayson. He was sent to you. To get close. To watch me. To wait until I slipped. Emily's vision blurred with tears. That's why he rushed the marriage, her father continued. That's why he kept you away from me. That's why he pushed you to move across town. He needed distance. He needed control. Emily's mind flashed to every moment she had made excuses. He's just busy. He's just stressed. He loves me, he's just not emotional. He was managing her like a project. Her father's voice dropped. I can't stop what's coming. But I can give you a weapon. Click. A shift, as if he leaned closer to the recorder. In box 7 there's a package. It contains documents, videos, and a letter for someone on the inside who still has a spine. If you ever need to burn them down, that box is your match. Emily's heart pounded. And if Jason ever turns on you. A pause. I'm sorry. But if he does, you have to be stronger than your feelings. Stronger than your memories. You have to remember what he is. Emily looked at Mr. Whitman, her voice a whisper. Where is box 7? Mr. Whitman swallowed hard. It's not here. It's at the main vault downtown. The private vault facility. Emily nodded slowly. Of course her father wouldn't keep the biggest weapon in the same place someone could snatch it. Her phone buzzed again. Then again. Then again. Jason wouldn't stop. Emily stared at the screen until it went quiet, then buzzed with a new text. Jason. Last warning. Walk away. Emily's hands stopped shaking. Something in her settled. The fear was still there, but it was no longer driving the car. Now the driver was rage. And clarity. She typed back one sentence. Emily. No. Mr. Whitman's eyes widened. Ma'am, you don't. Emily cut him off. I know exactly what I'm doing. She closed the case, tucked the recorder and USB into her purse, and held the new card like it weighed 100 pounds. Then she picked up her suitcase handle. I need to get to the downtown vault, she said. And I need help. Mr. Whitman's face was pale. If you go there, they'll know. Emily met his eyes. They already know. Mr. Whitman hesitated. Then he reached into his desk drawer and pulled out a small slip of paper. He wrote something quickly and slid it to her. Name. Diane Brooks. Phone number. Who is this? Emily asked. A lawyer, Mr. Whitman whispered. The only one I know who isn't bought. Emily folded the paper and tucked it into her pocket. Thank you, she said, then paused. Why are you really helping me? Mr. Whitman's voice cracked. Because I have a daughter. Emily nodded once and walked out. Outside, the cold slapped her face. Emily didn't have a car. Jason had taken the keys when he threw her out. She realized now it wasn't just cruelty. It was strategy. He wanted her trapped. Emily stood on the curb, rain dampening her hair, and called the only person she trusted. Maya. Her best friend since college. Maya answered on the first ring. What's wrong? Emily's voice trembled, but she forced it steady. I need you. Right now. Where are you? In front of Whitman Bank on 8th. What happened? Maya asked, panic rising. Emily looked up and saw a black SUV across the street, idling. Dark windows. No plates on the front. A man inside watching. Emily's heart thudded. Someone is following me, she said quietly. And Maya, I think my husband is dangerous. Maya's voice went sharp. What do you mean dangerous? Emily tightened her grip on her suitcase. I don't think my father died the way they said. I think Jason married me for something. And if I don't move right now, I might not get another chance. Silence. Then Maya said, Stay where you are. I'm coming. Emily's eyes stayed on the SUV. The driver didn't move. But Emily could feel him waiting. Like a shadow with patience. Maya's car screeched up 10 minutes later. Tires spraying water. Maya jumped out, face pale. Emily! Emily rushed into the passenger seat and slammed the door. Maya threw the suitcase in the back and peeled away from the curb like the devil was chasing them. In the side mirror, the SUV pulled out. Following. Maya's hands gripped the wheel. Okay. Tell me everything. Now. Emily took a deep breath and spoke fast, words tumbling out like stones. The card. The bank panic. The vault. A letter. Her father's voice. Jason's threat. Maya's mouth fell open. Oh my God. Emily stared straight ahead. He used me. Maya's eyes flashed with fury. We're not letting him win. Emily's jaw tightened. No. We're not. They drove toward downtown, weaving through traffic. Rain fell harder, drumming on the roof. The city lights blurred like smeared paint. Emily's phone buzzed again. Unknown number. She didn't answer. Text popped up. Unknown. We can make this easy. Give us the card. Emily's blood chilled. Maya glanced at her. Who is that? Emily swallowed. Not Jason. Maya's face went tight. Then it's Grayson. Emily stared at the message, then at the road ahead. Her father had been right. They weren't going to stop. So she couldn't stop either. The downtown vault facility stood like a fortress. Gray stone. Small windows. Heavy doors. Cameras everywhere. Maya parked in a crowded lot across the street. Emily stepped out and the cold hit her again. Her hair was damp. Her hands were numb. But her eyes were sharp now. Maya grabbed her arm. We should call the lawyer first. Emily nodded. She dialed Diane Brooks' number with trembling fingers. A woman answered, calm, firm. Diane Brooks. Emily swallowed. My name is Emily Carter. Robert Hale, he left me your name. Silence on the line. Then Diane's voice dropped. Where are you? Downtown vault facility. Another pause. Do you have the Hale card? Yes. Diane exhaled. Listen carefully. Do not go inside alone. Do not sign anything. Do not let them separate you from your phone. If anyone says your father's account is under review, that's code for we're stalling while we call someone who wants you gone. Emily's throat tightened. What do I do? Diane's voice sharpened. You go in. You access box 7. You take what's inside. Then you leave. And you come straight to my office. If you can't reach my office, go to a crowded public place and call 911 from there. You understand? Emily nodded even though Diane couldn't see her. Yes. Diane paused. And Emily. What? If your husband is involved, he'll try to control the story. He'll tell people you're unstable. He'll try to make you look like the problem. So keep calm. Record everything. And don't be alone. Emily whispered. Okay. They hung up. Emily turned to Maya. We go in together. Maya nodded. Always. They crossed the street, hearts pounding, and stepped into the vault lobby. It felt even colder than the bank. Sterile. Quiet. The kind of quiet that made your skin crawl. A receptionist looked up with a professional smile. Hello. How can we help you? Emily pulled out the card with her name. The receptionist's smile froze. Just like the teller's. Her eyes widened. And Emily knew. They had alerts. They had fear. The receptionist stood up slowly. One moment. She reached for a phone. Emily's stomach clenched. Maya leaned close and whispered. We're on a clock. Emily nodded. A man appeared from a back hallway, tall, stiff posture. Hair slicked back like he was trying too hard. He wore a suit that screamed expensive, and his smile didn't reach his eyes. "Miss Carter," he said warmly. "Welcome. I'm Victor Lane, head of client services." Emily didn't answer his greeting. "I need access to box 7. Victor's smile tightened. "Of course. We can help with that. But first we need to verify." "No," Emily said, voice calm. "You can verify after I have the box." Victor blinked, surprised. He recovered quickly. "Miss Carter, these protocols protect you." Emily stared at him. "Then why do you look scared?" Victor's jaw clenched for a split second. Maya stepped forward. "We're not leaving this lobby until she gets access. And we're recording." Maya raised her phone camera on. Victor's eyes flicked to it, annoyance flashing. Then slowly he nodded. "All right," he said. "This way." They followed him down a hallway. Emily could feel cameras watching. She could feel people behind walls. Victor stopped at a door and scanned his badge. "One at a time," he said smoothly. "Security rules. Only the account holder enters the private box room." Emily's stomach dropped. This was exactly what Diane warned about. Emily shook her head. "No. We go together." Victor smiled politely. "That's not possible." Emily lifted her chin. "Then I'll leave and come back with police." Victor's smile faded. He leaned closer, voice low. "Miss Carter, you don't want to create a scene." Emily's eyes narrowed. "I don't want to be buried." Victor froze. For a moment the mask slipped, and Emily saw what he really was. Not a service worker. A gatekeeper. A man paid to keep the wrong hands off the truth. Emily took a slow breath. "Open the door." Victor's eyes flicked down the hallway, like he was listening for something. Then he pulled a key and unlocked it. "Fine," he said tightly. "But only because you're making this difficult." Emily stepped inside with Maya right behind her. Victor tried to block Maya. Maya shoved past with her phone still recording. "Sue me." Inside, rows of boxes lined the walls like silent teeth. Emily's pulse pounded as she walked down the aisle. Box 7. She found it. Plain. Ordinary. But her father had called it a match. Emily inserted her card. Beep. The lock clicked. Her hands shook as she pulled it out. Inside was a sealed envelope. Small hard drive. Flash drive. And a folded paper with one word written on it. "Smile." Emily frowned. Maya whispered, "What does that mean?" Emily unfolded the paper. It was a note in her father's handwriting. If anyone is watching you right now, smile. Because the moment you open this box, the trigger started. Love. Dad. Emily's blood went ice cold. Maya's eyes widened. Trigger. Emily's phone buzzed. Then Maya's phone buzzed. Then Victor's phone buzzed outside the door. The building seemed to hold its breath. Emily turned slowly toward the camera in the corner of the room. And she smiled. Not a happy smile. Sharp one. A smile that said, "I know what you are. And I'm not afraid anymore." Maya's voice trembled. "Emily, what did you do?" Emily slipped the hard drive and envelope into her purse. "My father," she whispered, "just lit the fuse." They walked out of the private room. Victor was waiting, phone in hand, face pale now, sweat shining at his hairline. "What did you take?" he demanded, voice cracking through his calm mask. Emily looked at him like he was a bug. "My father's property," she said. Victor stepped closer, eyes wild. "You have no idea what you've started." Emily leaned in, voice low and steady. "Oh, I do." Victor's jaw worked as if he wanted to scream, but he was trapped by the cameras, by Maya's recording, by the public lobby just down the hall. He forced a smile that looked painful. "Miss Carter," he said through clenched teeth, "please come with me. We need to discuss." A voice interrupted from behind them. "Emily." Emily froze. She knew that voice. Jason. Her husband. He turned. Jason stood in the hallway in a perfect coat, hair neat, face calm, like he'd just stepped out of a magazine. But his eyes were wrong. Cold. Hungry. He smiled at her like a man who thought he owned her. "Emily," Jason said softly, stepping closer. "There you are." Maya's phone stayed raised. Jason glanced at it and chuckled. "Cute." Emily's chest tightened. "How did you find me?" Jason spread his hands. "You really think I'd let you run around with something that belongs to my partners?" Emily's stomach turned. "Partners?" Jason nodded as if proud. "You were never supposed to touch that card. You were supposed to stay obedient, quiet, safe at home." Emily's voice was sharp. "And when I didn't?" Jason's smile thinned. "Then you became a problem." Maya stepped in front of Emily slightly. "Back off." Jason laughed, almost gentle. "You're the friend, right?" Maya. Always loud. Always acting brave. Maya's eyes flashed. "At least I'm real." Jason's gaze snapped to Emily again. "Give me what you took." Emily didn't move. Jason stepped closer until he was just feet away. "Emily," he said, voice low, dangerous. "I'm trying to be kind." Emily laughed once, bitter. "Kind? Like when you kicked me out in the rain." Jason shrugged. "You pushed me." Emily's hands trembled, but her voice stayed steady. "My father knew." Jason's smile flickered. Emily pressed. "He knew about you. He knew you married me for this." Jason's eyes narrowed. "Your father was paranoid." Emily shook her head. "No. He was smart. And now he's gone." Jason's voice hardened. "And you'll be gone too if you keep talking." The air felt thick. Victor stood silent, watching, sweating. Then Jason reached into his pocket and pulled out something small. Not a gun. Key fob. He clicked it. Outside, a car alarm chirped softly. Jason smiled. "See that SUV across the street? My security. They can make this very easy." Emily's blood pounded. Maya whispered, "We need to leave. Now." Emily nodded slowly. Jason's smile widened. "That's right. Leave. And give me the drive." Emily met Jason's eyes, and for the first time, she saw the truth clearly. He didn't love her. He didn't even hate her. He saw her as a door. And he wanted what was behind it. Emily took a slow breath. Then she said, "No." Jason's face tightened. "Emily." She raised her phone. "I sent everything to a lawyer." Emily lied smoothly without blinking. "And to the media. If I don't check in within an hour, it goes public." Jason's eyes widened, just a flash, then narrowed. "You're bluffing." Emily shrugged. "Try me." Jason stared at her, and for a moment, he looked unsure. Then he smiled again, but this time it was empty. "You always were dramatic." He leaned close, voice like poison. "You know what happens to dramatic people." Emily didn't flinch. "They get remembered." Jason's jaw clenched. He stepped back, eyes flicking to Victor. "Call him." Victor's hands shook as he lifted his phone. Emily grabbed Maya's arm. "Go." They walked fast, not running because running would show fear. They moved through the lobby, past confused customers, past the receptionist who stared like she was watching a car crash in slow motion. Outside, the rain hit them like needles. Maya rushed them to the car. Emily slid in, heart hammering. Maya started the engine. In the mirror, the SUV pulled out. Still following. Maya swore under her breath. "Where do we go?" Emily's mind raced. Diane's office. Crowded public place. Police only if clean. Emily remembered her father's words. "Do not trust the police until you have proof they're clean." Emily's hands gripped her purse tight. "We go to Diane," she said. "Now." Maya nodded and they drove. Traffic crawled. Red lights. Slow lanes. The SUV stayed behind them like a shadow that never blinked. Emily's phone buzzed. Jason again. She didn't answer. Another text. "Jason. You can't win. You're not your father." Emily stared at it. Then typed back 2 words. "Emily. Watch me." They reached Diane Brooks' office building. A busy downtown tower with a crowded lobby and security guards at the front desk. Maya parked right by the entrance. Run, Maya said. They rushed inside. The lobby was full of people. Business suits, delivery workers, tourists, cameras everywhere. Emily felt a tiny bit of safety. They went up to the security desk. "Can we help you?" the guard asked. Emily forced calm. "We need to see Diane Brooks. Now." The guard checked a list, then nodded. "Floor 12. They took the elevator up. Emily's heart pounded with each passing floor. When the doors opened, Diane was already standing in the hallway like she'd been waiting. She was in her late 40s, sharp eyes, hair pulled back tight, dressed like she had no time for nonsense. She took one look at Emily's face and said, "He's coming." Emily blinked. "How do you?" Diane grabbed Emily's arm. "Inside. Now." They entered Diane's office. Diane locked the door and pulled the blinds. Then she turned, calm but fast. "Give me what you got." Emily pulled out the envelope and hard drive and set them on the desk. Diane didn't touch them yet. She looked straight into Emily's eyes. "Before we do this," Diane said, "I need you to understand something. Once we open that envelope, there's no going back. People will lose jobs, go to prison, maybe worse. They will fight." Emily's jaw tightened. "They already are." Diane nodded once. "Okay. Then let's fight smarter." Diane opened the envelope with a letter opener. Inside were printed documents and a USB drive labeled with one name, Charles Grayson, and another, Jason Carter. Emily's stomach clenched. Diane flipped through quickly, eyes scanning like a machine. Then she paused. Her face changed. Not fear. Recognition. "Oh," Diane whispered. Emily leaned forward. "What?" Diane looked up slowly. "Your father didn't just have evidence." Emily's throat tightened. "What else?" Diane tapped a page with her finger. "He had ownership." Emily blinked. "Ownership of what?" Diane swallowed. "A controlling share of Grayson's private holding company." Emily's breath stopped. "That's impossible," Emily whispered. "My father was a mechanic." Diane's eyes were steady. "Your father was an accountant once. Financial investigator. He went undercover. He built a case for years. And when Grayson tried to bury him, your father buried himself first. He made himself look small, harmless, so Grayson would forget him." Emily's head spun. Diane continued, voice low. "But he didn't forget Grayson." Emily's mind flashed back to her father's quiet eyes, his silence around Jason, his insistence on a separate bank account. He had been watching the whole time, planning, protecting. Emily's voice cracked. "So what does this mean?" Diane slid a document forward. "A legal transfer. Trust. A name at the top. The Hale Family Trust. Beneficiary. Emily Hale." Diane looked at her. "It means, Emily, when your father died, everything he held moved to you." Emily stared, numb. Diane's voice sharpened. "And that's why the bank panicked. That's why Jason panicked. Because the moment you used the card, the system flagged that the rightful owner had activated the account. The bank realized they didn't control it anymore." Emily's hands shook. Diane continued. "And if this is correct, you don't just have proof." She leaned in. "You have power." Emily swallowed hard. "Power doesn't help me if they kill me." Diane nodded. "That's why we move now." Diane pulled out her phone. "We're making 2 calls. Federal investigators. Not local. And a journalist I trust." Emily's heart pounded. "You think they'll listen?" Diane's mouth tightened. "With this, they'll have no choice." Maya whispered. "Jason's going to lose his mind." Emily stared at the papers. Jason had kicked her out thinking she'd crawl back begging. He had expected her to break. Instead she walked into a bank with an old card and triggered a collapse. Emily's voice came out low. "He threatened me with my father's death." Diane's eyes flashed. "Then we add intimidation to the list." Diane started making calls, voice calm, sharp, controlled. Numbers. Codes. She spoke like someone who had been waiting for a door like this to open. Emily sat down, trying to breathe. Maya squeezed her hand. "You're doing it," Maya whispered. "You're actually doing it." Emily's eyes stung. "I didn't want to do it this way." Maya's voice softened. "I know." Emily stared at the window blinds. Rain streaked down the glass behind them. Her mind replayed Jason's voice. "You're not your father." Emily swallowed. Well, she wasn't. Her father had been alone. She wasn't. An hour later, 2 men and a woman walked into Diane's office. Plain clothes, serious faces. Badges flashed briefly. Federal. The woman introduced herself. Special Agent Sarah Klein. Emily's chest tightened. Agent Klein's eyes were sharp. "Ms. Hale," she said, using Emily's maiden name without being corrected. "We received an urgent call. We understand you have materials connected to Charles Grayson." Emily nodded, voice tight. "Yes." Agent Klein glanced at the documents. "Your father's name is all over this." Emily swallowed. "He's dead." Agent Klein's face softened for half a second. "I'm sorry." Then her voice turned steel again. "But if what's here is true, your father didn't die in peace." Emily's eyes burned. "He didn't." Agent Klein looked at Diane. "We'll secure the evidence. We'll open an investigation immediately. And we'll provide protection." Emily's throat tightened. "Protection from my husband." Agent Klein's eyes narrowed. "Your husband?" Emily nodded. "Jason Carter." Agent Klein's face didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes, like puzzle pieces falling into place. "We know that name," Agent Klein said quietly. "We've been tracking a consultant tied to Grayson for months. We just didn't have enough to move." Emily exhaled shakily. Agent Klein looked at her. "You just gave us enough." Emily nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks before she could stop them. For the first time since Jason threw her out, she felt something close to air entering her lungs again. Then Diane's phone buzzed. A notification. "Security downstairs." Diane's face tightened. "He's here." Emily's blood went cold. Maya whispered, "Jason." Diane nodded. Agent Klein's voice was calm. "Let him come." Emily's hands shook. "He'll lie. He'll charm. He'll." Agent Klein cut her off gently. "Then let him try." Minutes later, Jason walked into the office like he owned it. He wore a calm smile, hands open, eyes soft. The performance was perfect. "Emily," he said warmly. "Thank God. You scared me." Emily stared at him, amazed at how easy lying was for him. Jason's eyes flicked to Maya, then to Diane, then to the agents. He paused, smile tightening just slightly. "Oh," he said. "We have company." Agent Klein stepped forward. "Jason Carter." Jason smiled. "Yes. And you are?" Agent Klein flashed her badge. "Federal agent." Jason's smile stayed in place, but Emily saw his throat bob as he swallowed. Jason let out a small laugh. "This is a misunderstanding. My wife." "Ex-wife," Emily corrected quietly. Jason's eyes snapped to her, rage flashing for a split second before he smoothed it away. "Emily is emotional right now." Agent Klein's eyes narrowed. "We're not here for emotions. We're here for evidence." Jason's smile turned strained. "Evidence of what?" Diane slid the document across the desk. Jason's eyes dropped, and Emily saw it. The moment his world cracked. His pupils tightened. His jaw clenched. His hand twitched like he wanted to snatch it back into the dark. But he couldn't, because the room was full of witnesses. Jason looked up slowly, smile gone now, replaced by something sharp and empty. "Where did you get this?" he asked Emily. Emily's voice was calm. "My father left it for me." Jason's eyes darkened. "Your father is dead." Emily nodded. "And you thought that meant you won." Agent Klein stepped closer. "Mr. Carter, you're going to come with us." Jason laughed once, cold. For what? You have no case. Agent Klein's eyes didn't blink. We have enough for a warrant. And we have enough to hold you. Jason's gaze snapped to Emily. You did this. Emily met his eyes. No. You did. Jason's face twisted, the charm finally falling away like a mask ripped off. You think you're some hero, he hissed. You're a nobody. You were nothing without me. Emily's chest tightened, but she stayed still. Jason leaned forward, voice low and cruel. Do you know why I chose you? 'Cause you were easy. Because you wanted love so bad you would swallow any lie if it came wrapped in a smile. Emily's eyes burned. Maya stepped forward, furious. Shut up. Jason ignored her, eyes locked on Emily. You want karma. Here's karma. You ruined your own life. Emily took a slow breath. Then she spoke. Simple. Steady. True. You kicked me out in the rain because you thought I would beg. Jason's lip curled. Emily continued, voice rising just slightly. You wanted my father's key. You wanted his silence. You wanted me trapped. Jason's eyes narrowed. Emily leaned forward, and for the first time she saw him flinch. But you forgot something, Emily said softly. Jason scoffed. What? Emily's eyes didn't blink. You forgot I'm my father's daughter. Jason's face tightened. Agent Klein nodded to the other agents. They stepped in, handcuffs ready. Jason's eyes went wild. You can't do this. You don't know who you're touching. Agent Klein's voice was flat. We know exactly who you are. Jason lunged forward suddenly. Not at the agents. At Emily. His hand shot out as if to grab her, to shake her, to break her. But an agent caught his arm, twisting it behind his back. Jason shouted, furious, struggling. Emily stood still, breathing hard, watching the man who once kissed her forehead at night now snarling like an animal. They cuffed him. Jason's chest heaved. He looked over his shoulder at Emily, eyes burning with hate. You think this is over, he spat. Grayson will bury you. He buried your father. Emily's voice was quiet. Then Grayson should be terrified. Jason froze. Agent Klein led him toward the door. Jason's head turned one last time. You'll regret this. Emily swallowed the fear and forced the truth out anyway. No, she said, voice trembling but strong. I regret trusting you. Jason was dragged out. The room went silent. Emily's knees went weak. She grabbed the edge of the desk to steady herself. Maya wrapped her arms around her. You did it, Maya whispered, shaking. You did it. Emily's eyes filled with tears. My dad, he planned all of this. Diane's voice was gentle. He planned for you to have a chance. Agent Klein stepped closer. Ms. Hale, she said, we're moving on Grayson tonight. This evidence will open doors that have been locked for years. Emily's throat tightened. Will it be enough? Agent Klein nodded once. It will be the beginning. Emily stared at the papers again. Her father's handwriting. His careful planning. His love hidden inside a weapon. Emily whispered. He knew I'd need this. Dan nodded. He knew the people you're dealing with don't stop unless they're forced. Emily's mind flashed back to the moment Jason shoved her suitcase into her arms. The humiliation. The cold. The feeling of being thrown away. And now. Now that same act had set off the chain that would destroy him. Karma. Not magic. Not a fairy tale. But consequences. Real heavy consequences. Days later, news broke like thunder. Charles Grayson's offices raided. Financial records seized. Names released. People arrested. Jason's face on TV, not smiling now, eyes hollow in a courtroom sketch. Emily watched from Diane's office with Maya beside her. Her hand still shook sometimes. She still woke up at night, hearing Jason's voice, feeling his grip on her wrist, tasting fear like metal in her mouth. But she was standing. Still standing. Diane sat across from her and slid one final document forward. The trust is yours, Diane said. It's legitimate. The controlling shares are yours. And with Grayson under investigation, those assets are frozen. But eventually, they will transfer. Emily stared at the paper, stunned. All this time, she whispered, Jason acted like I was lucky he chose me. Maya snorted. Turns out he was the lucky one. Emily's lips twitched, almost a smile. Then her expression hardened. He didn't just want money, Emily said quietly. He wanted control. He wanted to erase my father's work. He wanted to erase me. Dan nodded. And now he can't. Emily's eyes burned with tears again, but this time they weren't helpless tears. They were clean, like rain washing dirt away. Emily stood and walked to the window. The city below moved like it always had. People rushing, cars honking, life happening. But Emily wasn't the same woman who walked into that bank with a suitcase and shaking hands. She thought about her father's last letter. If you choose peace, walk away. If you choose justice, finish what I started. Emily hadn't chosen peace. She had chosen truth. And truth had teeth. She turned back to Maya and Diane. Her voice was calm, steady. I want to make sure Jason never touches another woman's life again, Emily said. I want to make sure Grayson never buys silence again. Agent Klein's words echoed in her head. This is the beginning. Emily nodded slowly, feeling the weight of it. This wasn't just revenge. This was a lesson. A life lesson written in broken trust and bloodlines and choices. People can smile while lying to your face. People can call love teamwork, while quietly taking your keys. People can build a marriage like a cage. But cages only work if you believe the door is locked. Emily's eyes hardened. Jason thought throwing her out would end her. Instead, it started her. That was karma. Not lightning from the sky. Not magic. Just the way the truth comes back around when you least expect it. Emily walked back to the desk, picked up her father's letter again, and held it against her chest. Thank you, she whispered, not to anyone in the room, but to the man who had loved her enough to plan for the worst. Then she looked straight ahead like she was looking at the future itself. And she smiled. Not because it was easy, but because she survived. Because she saw the truth. Because she refused to stay small. And because, in the end, the people who play dirty always forget one thing. They can push you into the rain. But they can't stop the storm you become after. If this story made you feel something deep, if you believe that karma comes back, that truth matters, that people who hurt others don't get the last word, then subscribe. Join this community. Because here we don't just watch stories. We learn from them. And we never forget. What you do in the dark always finds its way into the light.